Welcome to Divya Antar. Have you ever cried out to God from the depths of your heart and still felt like no one was listening? Have you ever wondered, can we truly talk to God? Or is it just our imagination? Are our prayers really heard? Is there a higher force that listens, that guides, that speaks? If you've ever had these thoughts, this video is for you. Today, we explore the deep spiritual truths from Paramahansa Yogananda's sacred book, Talking with God. This isn't just a book. It's a spiritual roadmap. A guide that teaches us how anyone can speak with the divine. Paramahansa Yogananda, the great yogi who brought the light of Eastern wisdom to the West, has guided millions on their spiritual path. In this book, he reveals powerful principles to connect with God, not through rituals or temples alone, but by awakening the divine consciousness within. You see, worship and prayer are not enough. To truly experience God, we must awaken. We must elevate our awareness. This is not always easy. But once understood and practiced, these truths can transform your life forever. We're about to uncover 10 spiritual secrets from this book. Each one will take you deeper, closer to the voice of God. And the final one is the most powerful. Stay till the end. Every secret opens a new doorway to divine connection. Let's begin. We've all prayed at some point in our lives. In times of pain, loss, fear, or confusion, we turn to God. We plead, we cry, we ask. And yet, when no answer comes, we begin to wonder, is God even listening? Yogananda says, God always hears, but we are not able to hear him. The reason? Consciousness. Our level of awareness is like a radio frequency. If your mind is not tuned to the right station, you won't hear the broadcast, even if it's playing all around you. When our minds are noisy, filled with desires, fears, and distractions, we become deaf to the divine whisper. To truly talk with God, we must first quiet the mind. A restless mind cannot hear the subtle voice of spirit. That's why Yogananda emphasizes meditation. Meditation is the most powerful way to elevate our consciousness. Through daily practice, our awareness expands. Our inner noise dissolves. Yogananda especially taught Kriya Yoga, a sacred practice where the breath becomes a tool to still the mind. When you focus on your breath, long, deep, peaceful breaths, your thoughts slow down. Eventually, the breath becomes so calm, it almost disappears. In that stillness, you meet God. But you must also release anger, fear, and negativity. Prayer must rise not from the lips, but from the soul. When you pray with love and devotion, your voice reaches the heavens. Have you ever experienced a moment where you asked for something with your whole heart, and you received it? Or when you prayed deeply, and felt peace within? That is not coincidence. It's God. But God's voice is not loud. It's subtle. It's a feeling, a knowing, an intuition. To hear it, we must purify our minds and silence the noise. Now, here's a deeper question. Do all our prayers get answered? Most people, when they approach God, they ask for something. Money, success, peace, love. But Yogananda says, just asking is not a conversation. When we only ask, it becomes one-sided. Imagine speaking to a friend, but never listening to their response. That's not a relationship. True connection with God requires listening. And God doesn't speak in words. He speaks through feelings, symbols, signs, and silence. When you meditate deeply, you begin to feel his presence. A presence that brings clarity. That guides you. That reassures you. I am here. Pay attention to the world around you. God can speak through a random word, a dream, a person, a sudden thought that brings you peace. If something brings stillness to your soul, it may be the voice of God. So, how do you meditate the right way? Many people sit in silence, but don't feel anything. Yogananda says, meditation is not just about closing your eyes. It's about lifting your consciousness. Kriya Yoga, again, is the key. It uses breath to still the mind. Because breath controls the mind. When we are restless, the breath is fast. When we are calm, the breath is slow. In deep meditation, the breath becomes almost still. And when the breath is still, the soul begins to shine. When your energy gathers at the spiritual eye, the third eye, or Ajna chakra, you may see light. You may feel inner peace. You may hear an inner sound. This is the beginning of divine conversation. Yogananda says, through this deep practice, the soul and God become one. Now here's a question many wonder. Is God only in temples? Yogananda says no. God is in your breath. In your heartbeat. In your very thoughts. We're taught to pray in temples. But forget that God is not limited by walls. To experience God, you must go within. Only when your consciousness rises will you feel His presence. Whatever you do, do it with love, with surrender. Even the smallest task becomes sacred. When done as service to God, every moment is a chance to feel His presence. Purify your mind. Dedicate your actions. Live each day with awareness and love. Now comes the most mysterious part. How do we recognize God's answers? Yogananda says, God always responds. But we must learn to recognize it. There are 3 ways God replies. 1. Intuition. A thought that comes suddenly, brings peace, and feels right. 2. Dreams. Symbols and visions that hold deeper meaning. 3. Signs. People, books, events, carrying messages. Your job? Silence the mind. Be sensitive. Be present. The more still you are, the clearer the message becomes. But building a relationship with God takes time. Yogananda says, many people remember God only in crisis. Then forget Him again. To maintain connection, white heavy checkmark meditate regularly. White heavy checkmark keep spiritual company. White heavy checkmark purify your thoughts. White heavy checkmark let go of ego and fear. White heavy checkmark choose love and compassion. Because this path isn't just for saints. God speaks to everyone. You don't need to be a monk. You don't need special rituals. You just need a pure heart. And a genuine longing. Call out with sincerity. And He will respond. God is not far away. He is within you. But here's the final secret. Even after devotion, meditation, prayer, there's one key that opens the divine door. Surrender. Let go of your ego. Let go of desires. Accept His will. That is when God steps in. As Krishna told Arjuna, offer all your actions to me. When you surrender, you don't need words. Your feelings speak louder. God understands your heart. And it is only through surrender that true conversation begins. We all ask God for something. Wealth. Love. Success. Healing. But not every prayer is fulfilled. Why? Because God doesn't give what we want. He gives what helps our soul grow. True devotion is not about asking. It is about trusting and surrendering. When you stop asking and start loving, God reveals Himself to you. And the most powerful way to reach God is through selfless love. When you help others, when you forgive, when you spread kindness, you walk the path of God. True prayer is not only in temples, but in your everyday life. Every time you love without expecting anything, You are closest to the divine. So today, will you choose the path of love? Will you make God a part of your life, not just someone you pray to? Your decision will decide how close you truly are to God. If this message touched you, share it with someone you care about. And remember, you are never alone. You are always heard. You are always loved. Jai Shri Shyam folded hands.